free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for their right. We've won freedom's fight, all one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by God today. Let us call our people, join as one, brothers under the sun, all one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace need Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise we, bless our great nation, Zambia, Zambia. Free men we stand under the flag of our land, Zambia. Praise to thee, oh one, strong and free.
Thank you very much. We will ride on the prayers that were said this morning at the official opening. We may now be seated. Your attention, please, as we welcome the presidents. The President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. Mr. President, welcome. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, karibu sana. The Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Honorable Chipoka Mlenga, MP. Minister of Industry, Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji. Cabinet Ministers present. Senior government officials present. Permanent secretaries present. Members of the Zambia Development Agency. Members of the Tanzania Private Sector Development Foundation. Members of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce, captains of industry and heads of public sector and private sector organizations, media present, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the Tiende Pamosi Scaling Up Trade and Investment Forum between Zambia and Tanzania. My name is Rose Sibisi, an independent media program director engaged by the Zambia Development Agency to direct the proceedings of today's significant business forum. Mr. President and Your Excellency, The forum convened this morning with business-to-business sessions with the aim of facilitating synergies between Zambian and Tanzanian business investment companies. The afternoon session was comprised of opening remarks by President of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Anthony Kabaye. Opening remarks by Tanzania Private Sector Foundation Board Member, Mr. Kalpesh Mehta. Presentation on business climate and business opportunities in Zambia by the Director General, Zambia Development Agency, Mr. Albert Halwampa. There was a presentation on business climate and business opportunities in Tanzania and Zanzibar by the Executive Director, Tanzania Investment Center, represented by Mr. Alhaji Jecha. Mr. President, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the afternoon ended with a panel discussion session under the theme, Enhancing Trade and Investment between Tanzania and Zambia, with panelists from Ministry of Industry Tanzania, Tanzania Investment Center, Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry Zambia, and the Trade Kings Group. We are pleased to have you join us, Mr. President and Your Excellency, and your distinguished delegation to take us through the last part of the program today. At this point, I have the pleasure of inviting the CEO, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Raphael Maganga, and President of the Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Anthony Kabaye, to give us private sector remarks on the joint resolutions and recommendations from the Business Forum that was deliberated today. Mr. Kabaye and Mr. Maganga, please.
Your Excellency, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, the President of the Republic of Zambia, all ministers present, DG Zambia Development Authority, President of Zambia Chamber of Commerce, business executives, media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellencies, first and foremost, allow me to express our heartfelt gratitude to both of you for gracing this Zambia-Tanzania Business Forum 2023, themed Scaling Trade and Investment between Tanzania and Zambia. Your presence here is a testament to the unwavering commitment to the private sector in fostering trade and investment between our two countries. Your Excellencies, from the majestic peaks of the Kilimanjaro to the sweeping plains of Zambia, from the iconic Serengeti where the lions roam and the wildebeest race, to the picturesque landscape of Zanzibar and the awe-inspiring beauty of the mighty Zambezi River as it flows into the magnificent Victoria Falls, all these elements tell us a story of which we share between our two nations in uniting across the lands. We extend our sincere appreciation to our host, the Zambia Development Authority, for its steadfast support on bringing this forum to life. The organization of the Business Forum has been made possible through the remarkable collaboration between the private sector and the government. Your Excellencies, despite the challenges brought about by the global pandemic, we have witnessed the resilience of bilateral trade supported by strong growth in agriculture sector, manufacturing, transport and logistics sector, as well as the mining sector. And on behalf of the Tanzania private sector, we commend our two governments for their exemplary policy direction and commitment to creating enabling business environment and trade and investment, all of which have contributed to this outstanding recovery. Zambia and Tanzania have shared deep-rooted historical bonds which with our bilateral relation firmly grounded in the shared history of our liberation struggle. Now, in the 21st century, we are in the process of liberating our economies, a feat that necessitates the close collaboration between the private sector and the government. And 6 key questions do come into mind. How do we remain competitive in a post-pandemic era? And how do we safeguard our economies from the global shocks? How do we sustain our economic growth to remain one of the fastest growing economies in Africa? How are the businesses factoring the impact of climate change and making it sustainable? How are positioning and taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area? And finally, how are our food systems ensuring that we become a food basket for Africa? Your Excellencies, we note that both our countries are guided by the Tanzania Development Vision 2030 and the Zambia Vision 2030, which all are to attain a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030. And to answer these questions, Your Excellency, our private sector from both countries convened earlier and resolved to the following. 1, on the Continental Free Trade Area, we recognize the potential of the 1.3 billion people marketplace, and we have resolved to strengthen our policies to fully take advantage of its benefits. Number 2, to collaborate with the private sector and developing key strategic infrastructures and highways linking our great countries such as the Trans-African Highway and the North-South corridors. Number 3, both countries have made tremendous progress in the agriculture sector, and we recognize the potential to become one of the food baskets for Africa. Our policies, therefore, must be stable, predictable, and facilitative in fostering collaboration. Together, Tanzania and Zambia can feed Africa and indeed can feed the world. Number 4, to strategically use our corridors from the Dar es Salaam port all the way to Zambia, making it one of the most efficient corridors to ensure our competitiveness in the region. Number 5 is to strengthen the border agency collaboration and integration of systems which are critical in operational efficiency, facilitating legitimate trade and reducing trade costs across borders, hence enhancing revenues much needed by the government. Number 6 is to have predictable policies that ensure stable business environment that will continue to stimulate the private sector growth. And number 7 was on the joint permanent commissions and the bilateral meetings, which need to be sitting more regularly and strengthen its decision-making mechanisms, will enable to resolve a lot of the non-tariff barriers. Your Excellencies, to further strengthen the bonds, Tanzania Investment Center have signed several MOU that promise increased collaboration. And today we will witness the signing of the MOU between the Zanzibar Development Agency and the Tanzania Investment Center for the cooperation of investment promotion and facilitation, which includes exchange of investment-related information. The MOU, amongst others, will lay down mechanism and modalities of cooperation on areas of promotion and facilitation between Tanzania and Zanzibar. And in the closing, Your Excellencies, this resolution demonstrates our commitment in advancing our economies and deepening our partnership. We believe, therefore, by working together, the private sector and the government of Tanzania and Zambia, we can unlock immense potential and drive prosperity for our people. Let us move forward with determination and shared vision for a brighter future together. Asanteni sana, thank you.
Your Excellency, Mr. Akihutubia Mkutano, President of the Republic of Zambia, High Excellency, Dr. Samia Hassan, President of the Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Ministers present, may I simply say all protocols observed. My colleague has elaborately talked about how we came up with those resolutions, and I'll go straight into our main resolutions from the business meeting we had this morning or this afternoon. The first one is fostering the quality of goods and services traded between the two countries. The two countries must not only export and import, at the expense of quality. Number 2, modernization of TAZARA is key, Your Excellency, and must be realized as soon as possible. Number 3, advantage of the Dar corridor being the shortest distance from Zambia to the coast to be leveraged by the Zambian business community. Number 4, TAZARA railways transport is strategic owing to 1, capability to move bulk and heavy cargo cost effectively and efficiently. Decongestion of the roads, interconnectivity of SADC to the East African community, increased capacity of the Dar port, capacity to 30 metric tons by 2030, 20 million metric tons by 2030. The two countries to enhance dialogue through various platforms provided. We have platforms like the PPDF, the PDU, that's the Presidential Delivery Unit. Those are the two platforms, Your Excellency, that we resolved the two countries to enhance their dialogue through. There is the digitalization of clearing systems at border posts and ensure pre-clearance of goods that do not need to be subjected to physical inspection. Or presentation of pronouncements with respect to establishment of non-stop border posts from one-stop border posts to reduce the lead time and transit time and avoid perishable goods associated risks. We also resolved that the 24-hour border operations be implemented. The implementation of the 24-hour border operation is important. Single window processing, Your Excellencies, one-stop shop at the border. We need that single window processing, one-stop shop at the border. Relaxation in excise duties to allow mutual trade. Lastly, Your Excellencies, standardization of compliance standards between Zambia and Tanzania. So that is standardization of compliance standards between Zambia and Tanzania. That's the last resolution that I have with me. Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. I submit.
Another round of appreciation for the private sector remarks from CEO, Tanzania Private Sector Foundation and Zambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I now have the pleasure of inviting the Minister of Industry and Trade, Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji.
Your Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Your Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Chipoka Mulenga, Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Republic of Zambia, Honorable Ministers here present, Your Excellency Lieutenant General Matthew Edward Mkingule, High Commissioner of the United Republic of Tanzania to Zambia, Your Excellency Matthew Jere, High Commissioner of the Republic of Zambia to Tanzania, Permanent and Principal Secretaries here present, business community, private sector representatives, good evening. Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania, Your Excellencies, foremost, I take this opportunity to thank the Almighty God who gives us his blessings and permission to be here today. Your Excellencies, I'm very delighted to attend this business forum in the presence of our national leaders, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, and His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia. We thank you very much, and we are very happy that you are both here with us to cement our mutual long-standing relationship for the betterment of our people. This demonstrates your high commitment and support to our long-existing cordial relationship reflected by the bilateral strategic partnership, which plays a central role in the development of our countries. Once again, thank you so much, Your Excellencies. Your Excellencies, the theme of our today's business forum is Tiendi Pamoja, which means Twende Pamoja in Kiswahili. This theme reminds us that the benefits gained from our strategic partnership are greater than benefit gains by individual country due to advantages from our strategic resource complement. Indeed, we have many opportunities in our two dear nations in the areas of agriculture, mining, trade, and logistics, including transportation, just to mention a few. Therefore, if we continue working together with our available resources in a win-win condition, surely we will further enhance economic growth within and between our countries. Your Excellencies, trade has been one of the strongest pillars for our bilateral relations by promoting social interaction, economic growth, and stimulating production between our two countries. Countries that are open to trade tend to grow faster, innovate, improve productivity, and provide higher income and more opportunities to their people. Also, emanated opportunities from trade do benefit the lower income households by offering consumers affordable and quality goods and services. For all this to happen through trade, we need to ensure that the set rules and procedures are followed in order to build trust among trading countries and between trading communities. Your Excellencies, as we all know, the world is changing very fast, including the way we trade. Globally, most of the trade is no longer done manually but electronically. E-commerce is growing very fast due to rapid development of the information and communication technology. In all these developments, we need to make sure that we are not left behind. We need to start taking actions and cooperate more than ever before in reaping the benefits of these rapid changing ways of doing business in order to reduce the transaction costs for our business entities and fasten movement of goods and services between our two countries. I encourage our business community in the region to start thinking strategically about e-commerce and how to take advantage of it. It is our expectations that e-commerce will assist us to overcome trade challenges just like those brought by COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical stresses in various parts of the world. Your Excellencies, following the state visit of His Excellency Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia in the United Republic of Tanzania, held on 2nd of August 2022 in Dar es Salaam, our leaders agreed to strengthen trade cooperation by removing all non-tariff barriers which hinder smooth trade between our two countries. In implementing these directives, our ministers of trade and other sector-specific ministries have made and resolved some trade challenges relating to taxes, charges, and fees. During the meeting that took place on 9th to 10th October 2023 at Tunduma border, 8 out of 24 non-trade barriers were resolved amicably. And we have set a deadline for the remaining 16 NTBs. By 31st December 2023, we should have zero non-tariff barrier between us. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in Tanzania, our industry has had a lot to celebrate over the past 2 years of Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania. Within her 2 successive years, we have conducted over 24 business forums, of which 8 of them were between Tanzania and other African countries. When she travels in a foreign country, she is always with the private sector in her delegation. This is a high commitment. This is a high commitment from Her Excellency Madam President. She wants to see the private sector growing at a higher level and have a significant contribution to our economic growth. For colleagues from the private sector, the ball is on our hand. Let us make use of this golden opportunity that is offered by our dear leaders, cherish and turn it into fruitful deliverables. Your Excellencies, let me affirm our commitments as Ministers of Trade, my brother Honorable Chipoka Mulenga, and I, that our meeting point is in Tunduma and Nakonde, where business transactions between our 2 countries are connected, as well as in all other big business centers where exchanges of goods and services are being conducted. And all the meetings that we're gonna conduct, we will be together with our private sector with us. I'm confident that through this spirit, the strategic relationship between our 2 countries will continue to grow and prosper. Your Excellencies, thank you so much for listening. Asanteni sana.
Further appreciation and acknowledgement for the Minister of Industry and Trade, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji. Mr. President, Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I now have the honor of inviting the Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry Zambia, Honorable Chipoka Mulenga MP, who will in turn invite the Republican President to make his keynote speech.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, President Hakainde Hichilema, Your Excellency, Madam President, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Honorable Dr. Ashatu Kijaji, Minister of Industry and Trade for Tanzania, the Honorable Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, and other government officials from both countries present, the private sector and business communities that we have in our midst. Your Excellencies, allow me to ride on the protocols that have been earlier established. Mr. and Madam President, allow me just to say this from the onset, that this meeting is a result of the meetings that we had earlier today on this Zambia-Tanzania Business and Investment Forum. Like my sister, the Honorable Minister from Tanzania, has said, We're here to report to you what was done and what we intend to do. And much has been highlighted by my sister. But Excellencies, allow me to say this, that we have decided as two governments, with your inspiration, through the two ministries from both countries. As much as two countries are affiliated to different regional bodies that one and the other country may not be a member to, we have decided that before that, we are neighbors. And that is a bond that is strong for us to enhance our economic trade and partnership. Excellencies, with your inspiration and messages that you had delivered to us, both at a time when we visited Tanzania and Her Excellency's message and visit to Zambia, we have come to decide that Zambia for many years and Tanzania have lived in harmony politically. Our forefathers had strengthened their political ties to win independence from our colonial leaders. But our time has come now when we forged strong bonds for economic prosperity and emancipation. Your Excellencies, like my sister has said, we will not be meeting in places other than where business is done. We will be meeting in the next 2 weeks between the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry of Zambia and the Ministry of Industry and Trade for Tanzania, alongside with our private sector, to see that both sides are doing business that is free of any encumbrances, so that there is both mutual success into the two business partners from both countries. Mr. President, allow me just to report that earlier this morning, we had meetings between the Zambian private sector and the Tanzanian private sector in many different areas of economic development that we discussed, ranging from mining, agriculture, transport, among many others. Mr. President, much has been said by my colleague and the two private sector players that stood before us. And it is for this cause, Your Excellency, that I want to take this opportunity before the private sector that we have from Tanzania and Zambia, whom we look forward to forging partnerships in business development that we want to do, that I call upon and invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, to address the House. Mr. President, sir.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan. And also to recognize that this is a business forum. The business colleagues from Tanzania and from Zambia. I will not take too much of your time. I'm aware that the business colleagues from both sides are supported by the associations, the business associations that to some extent house the businesses that operate in our two countries. I also wish to acknowledge the media for carrying the story, I'll return to business issues in a little while. Let me express our gratitude to President Hassan, her government, and the people of Tanzania for gracing our independence anniversary. 59 years of independence of our country has been graced by Her Excellency the President. Madam, we don't take that for granted because we know how busy you are. and the team that accompanied you and spending this time with us. Zambians do appreciate immensely. I also want to thank you, Madam President, for carrying along with you these business colleagues, business delegations, who I thank you for finding time as well to leave, checking your revenue statements, your balance sheets, and how they are progressing, and choose to spend this time with us in Zambia. I must also thank the business community on our side for being available to meet with your colleagues. But Madam President, all this that we're doing is anchored on our common heritage. Siamese twins, countries, Tanzania, Zambia, sharing a long land border. Political relationships that have been mentioned already, background, the path that was carved by President Nyerere and President Kaunda, our founding presidents, the two countries. The collaboration that they entered into as just examples. The Tazara railway line, very important corridor. Tazara corridor, very important facility which enhanced the trade between Zambia and Tanzania, but also allowed our country, Zambia, to move our goods, to export, to import through the Indian Ocean route, having had our southern route shut through the political situation then. Some younger people may not know that because Tanzania and Zambia were leading countries in the liberation of our region, independence struggle, we paid a price of some kind, including having our routes scissored, cut. So President Kaunda, President Nyerere, in their wisdom, found alternatives, such as the Tazara, which remains a very important asset today. And I'll come to, maybe I should finish it. We must invest, continue to invest in this asset, as we should with our other networks, assets. Tazama pipeline, we have changed our model here. We used to move what was called feedstock from Dar es Salaam into Ndola, Zambia, to sort of separate the commingled stuff. Now we bring in finished stock. But that line is not enough. But that initiative came from our two leaders. So it's now our duty to expand the diameter of that line. Difficult to expand it. But a new line, added line, will be a good thing to have. Actually, not a good thing. Essential. It's essential to have. So therein lies more opportunities for the people seated in this room. But building on what we inherited from those that came before us. I can go on and on. I'm talking about the background, the relationship, political, business, people to people. We've been saying this for some time. I think now it's this generation, we the leaders, opening up opportunities, unlocking rigidities that do exist, because there will always be rigidities. I come from the private sector, I know that. I knew that this country had so many rigidities that stood in the way of doing business, improving the bottom lines of businesses. Now I'm sitting as chief servant of this country, and it's our time to unlock those rigidities. But a country like ours cannot work in isolation, as we've demonstrated already that we had to work with Tanzania, our Siamese twin. So, Her Excellency and I are committed to unlocking those rigidities on both sides of the artificial border. How our border will be marked. People sat in Berlin some time back and drew our border, basically cutting our villages in the middle. If you go to Tunduma and Nakonde, elder brother was left in Tanzania, the younger brother was left in Zambia. Or uncle, or niece, or cousin. So I say that these borders are artificial. They were drawn for us. We're separated without recognition of the economic, social, geographical dynamics. But we have to live with those issues. So if we take them as artificial, it's important that we join hands as governments to resolve those constraints that continue to constrain our business operations, to help lower the cost of doing business. Our two economies. Economies are yourselves, businesses. That's our duty, and we are resolved, we are decided. We don't need persuasion. You heard what I said. We don't need persuasion. We are resolved, we are agreed. The important thing is for the two business sides, groups, two in one, Tanzania, Zambia, to checklist these challenges. Do not assume that we know them. Yes, we know that we need to get our optic fiber network. We need to get our interconnector energy. We understand. The physicality, physical parts, the ones that are easy to define. We know that we need to cooperate and support the two economies on the gas side, your gas find. The two governments know that we need to cooperate in the huge industry of the future, EVs. The two governments know that together, plus our other neighbors, we host all the strategic minerals. Mention it: copper, cobalt, nickel, manganese, lithium group, metals, rare earth. We have them. We know that. And we've agreed to share in these resources for the greater benefit of our economies. But it's you to definitively identify the projects, the investments that will actualize these opportunities. It's you. That's why you're business people. And once you've done that, you've checklisted this. I've listened to the two sets of colleagues, the ministers and also the business associations. The issues that the business associations, Tanzania, Zambia, bring to the table must come in a succinct manner, in a clear manner, non-ambiguous. You are clear what you want. Then the ministries will also add on to their checklist, the governmental checklist of issues, what we expect from businesses like yourselves. Having you express to us through the ministers what you expect from us, but around the projects, especially those that take strong economic, commercial viability. Because some projects will require governmental support, public ticket, in order to facilitate the viability of the private businesses. But when the two sides are clear, it is easy now for us to dissolve those two sides, those two checklists into one, consolidate them into one. And then we can draw a matrix, an action plan, a walking path, I call it myself. Working, but I like to call it walking path, from here to the door and out there. What's the meaning of that? What exactly do we need to do? I think that's where we fail as business communities, because I sat where you sit. And like say, President, Her Excellency Samia, Suluhu, Hassan, I hope I'm talking. Once you bring clarity to the table, it's not your issues, it's our issues collectively. Because she wants to create jobs for her youthful Tanzanian population. I want to do the same. That's how I'll be judged after 5 years in office. I want to create business opportunities. We want to create business opportunities. We want to grow the economies, our economies. But we'll do it together. At that point, it's no longer them against us. It's no longer the private sector versus the governments. It's no longer the governments against the private sector. No, we have a vested interest, isn't it? We have a vested interest. So I was debating, I looked at my notes here, I said, no, I'll say what I feel. I don't want to go through what someone wants me to say. But what is said here is correct. But I want to emphasize this element. And I say to my colleagues in the Zambian business community that don't say the government. Say we as an economy need to do the following things. It is a different mindset. It's a totally different mindset. And it makes it easier to work and go through things. I thought that would be the key message I would deliver this evening. We are ready. We have no choice anyway, the two of us. We don't have a choice but to work together. I wished we had a choice. The two governments have no choice, but equally, the two business communities have no choice but to work together. If you drive your truck, you are a fleet owner in Tanzania, and you're carrying goods into Zambia, into South Africa, you have to deal with issues that affect you when you cross the Nakonde border. Otherwise, your goods will not arrive on time. Your cost will increase. And I hope, Madam Your Excellency, these teams, I like the way they worked, especially the business community, they worked together and stood next to each other there. Your relationship must be a live one, 24/7. When you face the challenges, you first talk to each other. Then you drag your two governments to come to the table. And we will come to the table. I'm sort of going round. I want to make a point and rub it in. I have that habit of rubbing it in. if the Zambian trucker can't enter, Madam Your Excellency, we'll discuss these things tomorrow in the bilaterals. If the Zambian trucks can't enter Tanzania, for example, because Zambia is not a member, Tanzania is not a member of COMESA. It's a member of the East African Community, but not a member of COMESA. That is there, but it should not be the reason why the Zambian trucker cannot operate in Tanzania when the Tanzanian trucker can operate in Zambia. We are big enough to find common ground and not driven by associations, because these came later. We came first, isn't it? The landmass of Tanzania, Zambia came together with one family. The queues at our borders. I heard you talk about, I like what you said here. We should not be proud of a one-stop border post. With the digital advancements, we need a non-stop border post. I'm glad. No, one-stop means more shillings lost. More shillings lost. Idle time. A bit of someone opening the cover of the truck tent and nips one bag of something, cargo there. We move through the border. I like what you've said, 24/7. The borders must be open 24/7. We can put enough lighting there. Madam, Your Excellency, we must work together quickly to help each other to move to a 24-hour economy or economies on both sides of the border. So nothing artificial should stand in the way. Infrastructure at our common borders. Very important, very important. These are priorities you, the business community, must be saying. The budgets, we want to see the budget of Tanzania, United Republic of Tanzania this year. And we want to push for a similar allocation on the Zambian budget. Business houses. For what? To improve the infrastructure at Nakonde, for example. For the reasons that are obvious. That's the sort of influence we would like the business communities to have on governments. After all, it's your money, isn't it? Are you not the taxpayers? Are you not the taxpayers? Follow through
your money. Once collected by the taxpayer, follow it through. So that some of it is allocated on areas that affect your business.
Isn't it? Madam, Your Excellency, our revenue units must collaborate. I like what I heard there, single window. Single window, real time. When we are parking goods in Dar es Salaam, we in Zambia should be able to view the goods being packed there. Real time. And any appropriate taxes to be paid,
they can also be paid electronically. Then we can reduce the fidgeting. When we improve the revenue collection in Tanzania and in Zambia, overall it means we are improving the quantums of public revenue, the public tax. It actually logically makes sense to reduce the tax rates. If we are not collecting revenue that any government needs to collect to provide the services that are required, the tendency is to increase the tariffs, isn't it? Tax rates. But when we collect more because everybody pays a fair share of the tax and because we're digital, because we're real time, single window. This is the time of paper, we push it paper.
There is a rare opportunity that we can actually begin to reduce the tariffs to lower the cost of doing business. But overall, we'll collect more taxes. Isn't it? So let's cooperate between government and business. Tanzanian government, Zambian government, business in Tanzania, in Zambia. I thought I should drop to this level of conversation today. I think the rest, my big sister will talk about. My senior president. She became president before me. So in our region, there's a parking order. I know when my time to move, if we're in a meeting, is. I can't move before her. Her car will come before mine. That's the culture we found. So she will pick it up from there. But honestly speaking, colleagues, I want to drive one message before I sit. Tanzania, Zambia, Africa cannot continue, should not continue to export raw materials. We shouldn't. The reason our economies are crawling in growth, very, gentle curve. What we want is a steep curve. The reason we have these gentle curves in growth, because we are not value adding. We are not processing. We have lesser beneficiation. You two business houses, I'm glad you've been meeting for much earlier when we were doing other things. You've got to talk how you transact more. Trade, yes, but how you invest more with each other. If Tanzania is ahead in a particular field in processing, mirror that plant in Zambia. Bring it, don't reinvent the wheel. Equally in Zambia, if we are able to produce more seed, I don't call it a raw material, seed that is processed, that is tested, that is assessed, that it has efficacy, higher germination percentage, higher yield. We must cooperate with Tanzania. We've been chatting about seed. We must cooperate for many reasons. One is that we'll grow our economies faster. Two, when you jointly invest, you will have vested interest. You will have keen interest to hear the policies coming through from Zambia and vice versa. And if those policies affect your business negatively, you in Tanzania will call a partner in Zambia and say, hey, can you go and talk to the treasury there? We don't like that policy they're about to bring about. Vested interest. And vice versa. Common interest. Number three, you'll be able to mobilize more investable resources together with your collective experience, collective networking. At this level where we are, President, myself, yourself, it's assumed that we are learned enough, we are skilled enough. But above that, our ability to network is important. Because the other thing is mundane, it's a given. So you are able to mobilize by networking your own Tanzanian savings capabilities, Zambia, but more with your connected world. And you may bring a third partner into business who may have a little bit more capital, who may have a little bit more technology. And it will be a win-win situation. At least you'll have processed the raw material in Tanzania and Zambia. So the pool of raw materials sit in Zambia and Tanzania and in other countries. We are looking up to you businessmen to exploit these and value add and sell to our domestic markets, Tanzania, Zambia, SADC, COMESA, African Union, and also into the global community. I was dragged out of the meeting, Your Excellency, and I'll be sitting down just now, where we were talking similar things, not exactly the same. So one, visitor says to me, Mr. President, you are talking of the EV industry, and you are talking of at least making EV batteries here, motors, accessories. That may not help what you want, because I've heard you what you want. He's saying to me. Then my staff wanted to stop him and said, no, no, you are late in the other meeting. I said, I understand. I want to hear him to complete the story. And he says, actually, you who host the strategic minerals, it's high time you worked together to consider making cars for yourselves. Because if you make batteries, you make motors, electric motors, you make the wires, you make accessories. What is left is just the shell and the seats. So why shouldn't you be more ambitious than priding yourself that you'll be making EV batteries in your country? And the primary market is your own demand. And Tanzania, and SADC, and COMESA, and Africa. But we who have the technology are able and willing to work with you to actually manufacture the cars here. When he said here, he didn't mean in Zambia alone, madam. He meant in our countries, in our region and continent. Open my ears. So, but who is going to make that possible? It's you people sitting here. We will facilitate policies, allocation of resource envelopes through the budgets, but it's you to take the lead. Honestly, why should we be talking of making EV batteries for two-wheelers, motorbike, three-wheelers? Look at those three-wheelers, those tick-tick, whatever we call them. What is in there if we have the resource envelope in terms of endowment minerals? So, Madam, Your Excellency President, I want to challenge these colleagues seated here, that challenge us in government positively, work with us, demand things, make sure you are clear in what you want. And that's what you want is what we want. If it drives development, it drives economic growth, it creates jobs. And then we can look after the weak, the sick, the young, the differently abled, the old. That's what society is. So let's work as partners. It starts with you. Hopefully you've signed deals in those rooms. If you haven't signed, we will have to make the airports unavailable for you to take off until you have signed those things. Your Excellency, thank you very much once more for your graciousness to bring these people and to grace our 59th independence anniversary. It's a rare opportunity to speak to these colleagues. And sometimes I miss business. Sometimes. But we are one and the same. We meet at a convergence point, which is to grow our businesses, to grow our economies, to look after the citizens of our countries. Thank you very much.
President of Zambia, my brother, HH. And you know what is in common between me and you? You are HH, and I'm SSH. So we have the H in common. So you can translate whatever you want on that H. But I recognize the presence of honorable ministers from both Zambia and Tanzania, leaders of the chambers of commerce, and the private sector foundations, distinguished members of the business commissions from our two countries, high commissioners, ladies and gentlemen, good day to you all. Dear members of the business communities, maybe before that I should congratulate the Zambians for the 59th anniversary of your independence. Congratulations. That's a big step forward, and a lot has been done and is going to be done, including what we are doing today. So this event marks a significant milestone in the bilateral relations between our two great nations, and it serves as an exceptional platform for fostering economic cooperation and forging stronger ties. I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation to our host, the people of Zambia, for their warm hospitality and for graciously welcoming us to this beautiful city of Lusaka. We are honored and grateful for the enduring friendship and unwavering commitment in bringing about socio-economic development between our two countries. Tanzania and Zambia, as you all know, share a rich history, and my brother has said it all. And they have been allies in the pursuit of regional stability, development, and prosperity. We are all blessed with abundant natural resources, also with a vibrant, dynamic human capital. We are not poor at all. We should know how to use them. Tanzania and Zambia are among the oldest allies in the region, and together advocated for the formation of the frontline states for independence with the neighboring Southern African nation. These impressive relations have withstood the test of time, and we are here as part of that history and to enhance this relation for the betterment of our two nations. In my country, the path I'm leading is guided by a philosophy of 4 R's, and these are reconciliation, resilience, reforms, and rebuilding. And exactly we are here for that. Our ambition is to create a modern and vibrant economy, and one that is inclusive and provides opportunities for all. And by for all, not only Tanzanians, but our neighbors and whoever is interested to come to Tanzania. We are here to elevate the relation between the people and bring together, bring closer the fortunes and the future of our countries. This new level of cooperation will focus on a stronger development collaboration and the prosperity of our people. It is only natural that we seek to leverage our strengths to bolster trade and investment. Ladies and gentlemen, it is against this backdrop that I heartily welcome the deliberations from the forum. We have had those two, and my brother have said about them, but we are looking forward with a great anticipation to the outcome of this gathering, and he has said it all. It's only, you shouldn't come with deliberations and very nice written outcomes of this forum, but you should come with clear indications, clear message to the government, with clear heart and determination that we want to do it. We shouldn't live here and go in a separate way. We go to Tanzania You remain here in Zambia, but when it comes to implementation of those deliberations you have agreed, nothing is coming out of that. So he said it, we should act and stop the rhetoric. We should act so that we push the socio-economic development of our countries. I went through the program of this forum and found out that this forum is tailor-made and one that allows diverse engagement and business matching. With such diversity, I'm confident that participants will have fruitful and in-depth exchange of ideas that ultimately will shape the outcome of this forum to our advantage, two countries' advantage. I hope Tanzania and Zambia business people and the government officials gathered here will rise to the occasion and contribute to taking our economic relations to the next level. We are now creating setbacks for the borders to open and business to move. We shouldn't do that. My brother has said it. Those who are in the one-stop border post, we are now changing the names. Non-stop border post. I'll be preaching to the converted if I reiterate why you should invest and do business in Tanzania. I know all have been said here. However, let me leave you with three key messages. One, politically, Tanzania is a peaceful and stable country, and one that upholds the tenets of good governance, respect of human rights and rule of law, just like Zambia. The fight against corruption and other vices in the society is unwavering. We are creating favorable environment for doing business. And I think the ZIPA and TIC have said it all. So welcome to Tanzania. The Zambians should come in good numbers to trade in Tanzania. Form collaborations, partnerships between the business communities so that we too, the two countries, should work together and elevate the level of our trade volumes and in terms of money terms. My number two message is to this business community here is simple and direct, that Tanzania is growing. In addition to stability, the size of the market and supportive infrastructure, a key aspect that continues to attract investment to Tanzania, is its growth. In the first quarter of the current financial year, which covered the period of July to September, Tanzania's GDP grew at a rate of 5.6%. During COVID, we dropped to 4, I think, 3.7 to 4. And my brother was telling me they dropped to -2, and the growth now is 4%. -2.8. And the growth is 4%. Very impressive. So we dropped to 4, and we are now growing at 5.6. We are optimistic and justifiably so that in the coming 2 years, our GDP growth will return to its pre-COVID level, averaging over 6%. We are close to that percentage. Tanzania is the country of the present and the future. And if you are not investing in Tanzania, you are missing the action. So please do it now. Having given those messages, and in parting, let me emphasize on the following. First, Tanzania is ready to do business with you, and our doors are wide open. Please feel free to call on our government, trade and investment facilitation offices, including the Tanzania High Commission in Lusaka. He is here as a vehicle of channeling our concerns. You might have on improving our business relations or keeping us abreast of the success you record. What I want to say here is through the embassy here in Lusaka, you may channel the challenges which you are experiencing in doing business with Tanzania, but as well you may report the successes that are happening so that we can assess how our people are implementing the agreed deliberations from this forum. Second, networking, as Mr. President has said. For us, we believe the private sector is the engine of our economic growth. And so, networking is very, very important. And I would like to encourage the business communities, Tanzania business community and Zambia, to have partnerships and networking so that we can work closer and in an easier way. 3, the political will from our two governments to increase trade volumes among our countries is evident. You have seen it. The President has said it all, but then the ministers have said it all. So I urge you to take advantage of this conducive environment. You may consider taking interest in adding value, as it was suggested, of agricultural produce such as maize, rice, sorghum, cassava, and oilseeds. We should work together on these areas. Lastly, our visionary founding fathers fought for political independence. We, the next generation of leaders, including you in the private sector, should fight for economic independence. We must work together. We must work together towards eliminating any form of market restrictive measures. We were told we have removed how many? 64 NTBs? 80. 80 out of 8 out of 24. So we still have to do. Yeah, much is desired. So please remove the market restrictive measures. Our economies need to complement to each other and not to compete to one another. I thank you very much.
For the continued call to action and encouragement of trade between Tanzania and Zambia. As we come close to the end of the official program for today, may I ask the technical desk to be ready with the Zambian national anthem. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this full day for the Business Forum. As you well know, the two presidents have still got a very heavy schedule that will continue tomorrow, and at this time, we will allow them to take their leave. May we please be upstanding as we get ready to recognize the Zambia national anthem and allow the presidents to take their leave. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause as the Republican President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, leave for the evening. Thank you so much, Presidents, for joining us this evening. Thank you so much. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to continue to network and exchange business cards and ideas. The official program for today, the Business Forum Tiende Pamozi between Zambia and Tanzania, has officially come to an end. Thank you so much for joining us. Traveling mercies as you leave to your homes and respective residences for this evening. Thank you and good night.